The CCNA topics covered in this chapter are how the router boot sequence happens, what are the different router modes, various passwords and its configurations, how do you configure interfaces, significance of the config register and the iOS file system. How the router can be configured. It can be configured using command line interface. You have to execute some commands to make the router configurations. So that is called command line interface. In short, it's called as CLI. So what CLI have you executed to configure certain things? That's what the question can be. So commands are issued to configure the router. That's called CLI, command line interface. Let's see the router power on or boot sequence. For the first time, when you want to configure the router, you had to connect to the console port. The COM port on the PC can be connected to the console port of the router using a console cable, and the router can be accessible with the help of a application called Hyper Terminal in Windows. As the router is powered on, using this Hyper Terminal application, you can access the routers. When the router is powering up, the sequence would be like this. It first checks the hardware and all the interfaces, if all the hardware is fine or not, or if there is any problem with the hardware or not. So that's called power on self test. It checks that, and then it checks the bootstrap and then the flash. In the flash file, it sees whether there is a required iOS image present in the flash or not. If it is there, then it will go for the ROM, to find the mini iOS for the boot up. And then based on the configuration register value, if it is 2102, then it takes up the configuration from the NVDAM and it goes to setup mode. In the setup mode, the first line that would appear is like, would you like to enter the initial configuration? If you give yes, you can set it up your own initial line by line configurations. If you say no, it will terminate the auto installation. And then if you enter, it will go to the user mode. That's called router user mode. The prompt will look like router followed by greater than symbol.